Good morning, Code Media. It's RJ back with another video, so let's get to it. Today's random Mike Schmidt item of the day from, 1986, the Drake's Cakes Big Hitters set, number 26 in a series of 37, the 6th annual collector's edition. This, if you don't know Drake's Cakes, it's similar to Tasty Cakes or Hostess or Little Debbie, a little snack cake. By this time, originally issued in 1981, their Big Hitters collection was released as individual cards, pretty much mirroring the picture from the top set of those years. And it was inserted into the pack, not printed on the box, but by this year, they were printing it on the box. The back actually looked slightly different. And you can see it was cut out rather than inserted. So the Drake's Big Hitters, this is for 1986, their 6th annual collector's edition. I actually do have all 8 of the Drake's Cakes sets that were ever issued. So I'm happy about that. That was my random Mike Schmidt item of the day. Today's random baseball item of the day. In my collection, I have a lot of what I would call souvenir sheets. Or the Phillies did this all the time. Back in the 80s and 90s, they would give out these souvenir sheets to fans. It came when you purchased a program. One of these was inserted into it. It's an 8.5 by 11-inch piece of paper, cardstock, usually a limited edition print, because they didn't sell a whole lot of programs for scoring that day. And this is Tug McGraw, an image of Tug McGraw during the 1980 World Series parade. By now, it looks like they had gotten into JFK Stadium, where the parade ended and where the discussion and the talk to the fans and everything had erupted, or was going on. I recognize a couple people here. This is Tug, obviously, holding up the "We Win" banner. That is Bill Giles in the background. He is the son of Hall of Fame executive Warren Giles. He was the one of the majority owners of the Phillies at the time. I believe this is Harry Callis, kind of like bowing down for something right there. This guy I don't recognize. That is Greg Luzinski, former great slugger for the Phillies. Pretty sure this is Boa. If you saw the parade, you remember Boa was wearing this kind of a cowboy hat and a kind of like a tan jacket. So those are the individuals I can identify. And this was released. Let's see if I can figure out what year this was kicked out. I don't think. Oh, it's 2000. It was a 20th anniversary celebration of the Phillies, obviously, and this was highlighting Tug. And this was inserted into your scorecard if you purchased one that year. And I often, when I went to games, purchased a scorecard to keep score and would save all of these. I've got several of these souvenir sheet kind of things, and this is limited to 2,200. All right, today's trivia question. Still picking out great stories from that Sporting News trivia book. Has all kinds of great things in it. Really cool, fun facts that are going to make you scratch your head. Going to make you struggle to find the answer, all right? So, name for me the Hall of Fame pitcher. And according to the Sporting News trivia book, he is the only person ever in Major League history to accomplish this fact. He is the only, this Hall of Fame pitcher is the only pitcher ever to come to the plate in a pinch hitting role and hit a grand slam as a pinch hitter. And at another point in his career, also gave up a grand slam to a batter who was a pinch hitter. Very convoluted thing, perhaps, but name for me the Hall of Fame pitcher who was the only man in the history of the game to both hit a pinch hit grand slam and serve up a pitch that ultimately was a pinch hit grand slam. So send me an email with that correct answer, and you could win this 1953 Pee Wee Reese card, but not really. It is actually from the archive, the Topps Archive series from the early 90s. But it is still a cool Pee Wee Reese collectible. If you're a Hall of Famer Pee Wee Reese, that is from I want to say 1991 or somewhere in that era. The 1953 Topps Archives set. That is your answer. If you can, that is your prize. If you can answer that question, send me an email. I will include my email in the description below, along with the repeat of that question. You will have today and tomorrow to answer. We'll pick a winner on Sunday, all right? Good luck to everybody on that one. Today, what I want to show off, got fascinated by this not too long ago. Stumbled across it. I purchased all of these for the Phillies, but I found out there were more, and we'll get to that in a second. So, 1971 Arco Phillies pictures. They're same size as that souvenir sheet, so they're like 8.5 by 11. Absolutely abysmal images. I mean, just terrible pictures. So, these are the Phillies. There were 13 Phillies that were released. Now, let me show you the back real quick. Arco, down here, one of the other ones had an explanation of what Arco was. It's a gas station, like the American Refinery Corporation or something like that. And so they had a license with the Players Association to put out these souvenir sheets, and they did it for 4 different teams. Now, a couple of the teams make sense. I mean, they had the Yankees, they had the Red Sox, they even did the Pirates, but the Pirates were pretty good back in the 70s. And then for whatever reason, they did the Phillies, who were abysmal, just pitiful. You know, between the 60s and the early 70s, they were just a pitiful, pitiful team. I guess it's because of the location. If you consider that they did the New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox, Pittsburgh Pirates, and Philadelphia Phillies, it's covering the Pennsylvania, New York area. So maybe that's why they did it, because they're local to that market. But here is Boa, Hall of Famer Jim Bunning. All right. It's interesting, too. This is only licensed by the Players Association, and they didn't try to hide the logos. Roger Freed. But most of the people are photographed without their hats on, and they really look like you're saying, really, this guy was on the team? No wonder this team stunk. Terry Harmon. But it's not just the Phillies. I'm going to show you the other card set, the other sets I have. Larry Heisel. Joe Horner, who actually apparently was a fairly decent player, as I'm starting to learn as I find more of my cards in my possession of Joe Horner. Darron Johnson, Darren Johnson. Tim McCarver, legendary catcher, broadcaster, Hall of Fame broadcaster now. Tim McCarver just passed away recently. Don Money, part of the early Phillies. Dick Selma. Chris Short, one of the great pitchers, along with Jim Bunning on the Phillies for a long period of time. In fact, Chris Short is part of the all-time great Phillies PSA set registers. Tony Taylor, still a fan favorite in Philadelphia. I don't think Taylor has passed on yet. And then Rick Wise, the not the Hall of Fame, but the legendary pitcher who pitched a no-hitter and hit 2 home runs in the same game. Rick Wise. And then back to Boa. Now, there are 13 players in this set. And again, there are 3 other sets from 1981 of Arco players. I was able to pick up 2. So far, I'm waiting on the 3rd one to come up on the bay. I'm currently watching it. I'm going to snag it when the date comes. So this is the 1971 Red Sox. For whatever reason, there were only 12 Red Sox, not 13. You got Louis Aparicio, little Louis, Hall of Famer. Ken Brett, George's older brother. Remember, this is 91, or I'm sorry, 71, and George didn't come into the league a couple years later. Ken had already been there a couple years. Take a look at Ken's record. He actually played a game in 1967 for the Red Sox. Was back in Louisville most of the time, or minor leagues the next year, but back up in Boston to stay in the late 60s, early 70s, and here he is in 71. Billy Canigliaro, maybe he was Tony's brother. Tony Conigliaro, yeah, yep, Tony's brother, Ray Culp. Doug Griffin. And again, these guys, you look at these guys with these pictures, the pictures are just bad pictures. And I look at these, every time I see these guys, I think, really, these guys were Major League players? This is what the Major League teams were serving up? They don't look like Major League players, do they? I don't know, maybe it kind of tells you that you see them on the street, you don't even recognize these are athletes. George Scott. Sonny Siebert. Reggie Smith. Now, Reggie was a legendary player, dang near a Hall of Famer. Great athlete, great batter, an exceptional hitter. I think he should have gotten more love. Ken Tatum. And then Yaz, of course. Carl Yastrzemski. Even Yaz, you look at him and go, really, this guy was a Major League player? But that's just the way they did it. And again, the pictures are just pitiful. And this one looked pretty much the same way the others looked. Little offer here. You can see here, you could buy a frame for each of these pictures. It's all facsimile autographs. Each one contains a facsimile autograph. Obviously, they're not real, And lastly, I got the Yankees. Now, the Yankees, I'm sad to say, this is after Mickey Mantle left, so there's no really great legendary players on the Yankees in the early 70s. Jack Acker. Stan Bonson. I remember Stan. Frank Baker, not home run Baker, but another player named Frank Baker. Danny Carter. No idea who Danny Carter is. Horace Clark. No clue who Horace Clark was. John Ellis. Gene Michael, I heard of. I thought Gene Michael was an executive later on in his baseball career. Here's what everybody knows. Thurman Munson. A little bit of staining on these. I really don't care. It's a nice little set to have in my collection. Bobby Mercer, longtime legendary, well-known Yankee. Fritz Peterson. Mel Stottlemyre produced two sons who were pitchers as well. Mel Stottlemyre, longtime pitching coach in his own right. Roy White, longtime Yankee. In fact, he was probably with the Yankees most of the decade of the 70s because I remember him in some of my early cards collecting, and that's the end of the Yankees. So I have now 3 of the 4 Arco sets from 1971. I got the whole Philly set, got the Red Sox set, got the Yankee set. There is a Pirates set. Like I said, I'm following that one on eBay right now. And when its time comes, I'll go in there and try and scoop it up. There were only those 4 sets by Arco in 1971, nothing else. Although they did have a Red Sox only set, I believe, a year or 2 before. Those I can't find in full set format. And then buying them individually is like $20 a pop. I really don't think I want to go through the trouble. I'm not sure if I want to go through the trouble to acquire that whole set, but I'm happy to get these sets when I had the chance. Very happy to do that. So I got 3 of the 4. We'll have the 4th soon, I hope. Just another little addition to my set collection because RJ does collect sets. So appreciate you all watching. If you like that video, please consider like, subscribing, commenting, and all that jazz. And come back again on Wednesday. We'll have more great trivia and prizes to give away. Don't forget the trivia for today. Check out the information in the description below and participate, please. Thank you all for watching. See you again soon, all right? Take care.